Newcastle United are Champions League. That's right, Newcastle United will be playing Champions League football next season for the first time in 20 years. When you go and buy your new Newcastle top for next season, you can get the Champions League badges on the arms. Wow. Kieran Trippier wins Player of the Season for Newcastle, and Eddie Howe is expected to win Premier League Manager of the Season as well. That's right, guys. Welcome back to Toon Tuesdays, your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news. The series that I've been doing for years and can confidently say since I started it 7 or 8 years ago, I have never discussed the fact that Newcastle are playing Champions League football. Wow. Welcome to the series if you're new. If you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. The channel has boomed over the last few years alongside Newcastle United. So if you're not subscribed, hit the button. It really helps. And if us getting Champions League wasn't good enough, it's lovely and sunny today. So I thought I'd come and have a sit outside and talk about this week's news. Obviously, the big news story right now is that Newcastle, following their draw against Leicester last night, got Champions League football. No, it wasn't the best game I've seen us play all season, despite the fact that we hit the post 7 times, that we had 85% possession throughout the entire of the first half. Leicester still managed a little 3-minute spell at the end where Nick Pope had to come to the rescue and keep the ball out of the net. But regardless, we got the point. We did it. Last night's game wasn't great, but the atmosphere was. Wow, war flags really pulled it out of the bag last night. The crowd went wild. It was flags galore. It was scarves galore. The fans were willing us on to go ahead and put that ball in the net. And as I said, we hit the post enough times. We should have been winning that game. We should have won that game, but it didn't matter in the end. And then the party continued on after. A little bit groggy this morning, I must say. I've just been at work, popped out to do a video for you guys. A little bit groggy, but I'm doing okay. And as I say, very happy that with what we went and did this season. You talk about, obviously, the game, but it's a long season. You look at Arsenal, they couldn't do it for a whole season. If it was half a season, if it was 5-10 games, Arsenal would have won the league. It's not, it's a full season, and I think it just really shows how much effort and graft Eddie Howe, the owners, the players have all put in throughout this season. One player who has put a hell of a lot of graft in is Kieran Trippier, and as I say, he has won Newcastle's Player of the Season. I'll be interested to know if you guys had a different opinion. Would you vote Trippier? Would you vote somebody else? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, you've got to say Trippier has been class. He's the first player we brought in. It was a mentality change in the club when we're bringing a player like that in. He helped immediately with the players in the squad, in the lineups, to play better. And I think Trippier's a good player. He adds attacking options, one of the most chances created of any player in the Premier League. Yeah, he's been pretty good, but I think what he also added was a bit of a calmness and like a level-headedness, and just someone who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt. He's been at Spurs, but Atletico Madrid was really successful for him, winning the Liga out there, to come in and just kind of go, it's all right. You don't have to kick the ball out every time. You can sometimes pass it around, and I think what Eddie Howe's trying to achieve, and we've seen him be quite particular over what players he brings in and maybe what players he doesn't bring in. Kieran Trippier was a man that he clearly wanted to be involved, and Kieran Trippier actually did his podcast with Jake Humphries recently, so if you've not seen that yet, be sure to go and check it out. Eddie Howe did that. Trippier's done one now as well. And he talks just about the fact that, well, he wanted to be back, he wanted to be closer to his family. The money, he only came to Newcastle for money. He actually admitted in that podcast that if he wanted the money, he would have stayed at Atletico Madrid. He was getting paid more at Atletico Madrid than he is at Newcastle. So it shows that he saw the ambition, he saw what could be achieved with the right owners, with the right development, with the right staff. And we've brought it to fruition in terms of a huge step forward for the club. Look, this is step one, maybe step 2 now. Maybe I think we may have even skipped this couple of steps, because I don't think too many people thought we would genuinely take that jump all the way into the Champions League this season. And now you look forward, you know, you enjoy it, you celebrate it. It was great last night, and look, it's not even the end of the season yet. We still have to play Chelsea this Sunday, where we want to try and get 3rd place. You know, like Eddie Howe says, I doubt the lads, I think they probably may have had a couple of beers last night, but I've got a feeling Eddie Howe will have told them to keep it light, because we still have another game to go. Chelsea away on Sunday. I will be back. I will be doing a full preview of that on the channel, so be sure to look out for that. So I won't go into it too much. I want to talk a little bit more about just how far we've kind of come with this season. You know, Eddie Howe is a man who really has come in and changed things, and he's not just changed it in terms of us being a better team on the pitch. Look at the players, laughing, joking, smiling. I mean, you would be after getting Champions League football, but Sean Longstaff in his interview talking about it's his childhood dream come true, and you look at the players laughing, joking, smiling. Obviously, it's easier to do that when you're winning. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure when we were down and out, having said that though, even when Eddie Howe came in and we weren't in a great place, you could see things were changing, and there was I mean, Miggy's always smiling, but you could see there was just that mentality change of you can actually enjoy your football, and I think the togetherness that he's brought in has played, it's such a big role, and it's top down. I think it's the owners as well. I think, yes, being the richest club in the world, the richest club in the Champions League it's gonna help. Look, it's gonna really help, and I want to talk about money and transfers a little bit in this video as well, of what's gonna happen next. To tell you what, this summer it's gonna be a fun one. I know that for sure. But the Newcastle owners, yes, they've got the money, they know what they want to do, but I think they understand what the fans are after. And you know, we talk about if we hadn't have got Champions League football, I would have been disappointed. You know, you can't have the two viewpoints of what I want as a team that tries, but I bet the Arsenal fans were disappointed that they'd gone all that way and then slipped at the end. If we'd done all that all season and slipped with 2 games to go, I would have been pretty upset. But it's not to say that I don't fully appreciate how far we've come as well. And I think the owners, and as I say, the fun and the jokes the players are having, kind of shows exactly what we're trying to do. Jamie Rubin and Murdad doing the half-time challenge just says it all for me. It just shows that they just get it. Yes, it's business. Yes, it's serious. But they're not taking themselves too seriously, though. And they're having a bit of fun with it. Big Yas, the chairman's made his way over and took part in the half-time show with his work shoes on and could barely kick the ball. But it's part of the fun. That's the whole point of it. And it's great to see they got involved. And it's great to see how, as I say, how happy the players were. Joe Linton singing Dan Burns from Blythe at the end of the game. And look, you talk about Eddie Howe, and I mentioned it already, being linked with Premier League Manager of the Season. I don't think Eddie Howe's particularly bothered whether he wins it or not. I think he's won his trophy already, and that was getting us into the Champions League football. And, you know, you talk about owners, you talk about money, you talk about players. The Geordie Pirlo put an image on Twitter, which I'll put on screen for you guys, where he circled the players who were in the squad before Eddie Howe arrived. Like, if that doesn't, I think it's a great tweet, well done. If that doesn't say it all, I think it really does. Yes, we've brought in quality. We've brought in Bruno. We've brought in Gordon for 45 million, and he hasn't played a game yet, you know. So hopefully he will come good, by the way. Hopefully he'll get more involved next season. He's going to have to, with Champions League on the horizon. But the point is just the turnaround in mentality and thought. And I'm not going to talk about, you know, the previous ownership. And obviously, in my opinion, there was something there for the taking, and he didn't want to take it, and the new managers do, the new owners do. And yes, it's money and it's off the field and everything else, but just the change and getting behind the team and enjoying what you're doing, I think is what is also so satisfying. Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing us spend some money this summer, and I think we will, and I am going to totally take it all in. But there's also something a little bit nice that we didn't just go. Yes, we did spend quite a few million, let's be honest, but nothing that the previous owner couldn't have spent, in my opinion. we could have gone out and spent that money. It's not been billions. You know, we haven't gone out and bought Galacticos. We've brought in sound, stable lads like Dan Bird and Nick Pope. And even Trippier was 15, 12 million. We've brought them from the ground up. And that's what will be interesting going at this summer window as well, because you've got to think, Champions League for the first time in 20 years, outside of our starting 11, only 5 other players have started games. So you're looking at 15, 16 players who've started. That isn't a full squad. That is 8 players, 9 players away from a full squad. And now we are going to go into playing every Tuesday or Wednesday and the weekend. It's a lot of football. And we're going to hopefully be competing in the Carabao Cup again. Can we get back to Wembley? Who knows? An FA Cup run, possibly. That's a hell of a lot of football for a singular 11, 12, 13 players that we play every week who don't really get a rest. And then you're thinking, God, if there was an injury, I mean, that's what we've done well with this season. Yes, there was a couple of injuries near the start. Callum Wilson was kind of in and out, and Isak was as well. But I think we have rotated that quite well. But coming into the end of the season, Willock, he's picked up a late knock. But generally speaking, we've kind of got away with it, I think, late in the season. We can't risk that next season. Really, what you want is a Man City who can rotate and play, and he can play Champions League, he can play in the league, he can do... We aren't going to get there. I don't think the summer window is going to be that big. And we saw it with Chelsea, who went out and changed their entire team. Oh, sorry, they didn't change them. They just brought in loads more players and then have totally flopped. So that's something to bear in mind as well. But one of the big things for us this summer window, and look, we're a fun team. The players short on the pitch. It's a dressing room I think players want to be involved in. We've got a stadium packed full of Newcastle fans, living and breathing it, waving the flags, getting involved, cheering on the team. What player does not want to be inside St James's Park getting cheered on like that? What we also have now is not just a team that will get Champions League football in maybe a year, 2, a few years. We have it now. Yes, you can promise players to come in and you can be involved in this process. Now we are instantly saying to players, yeah, we have Champions League football. And that changes so much this summer window. It means that we can immediately go from players who maybe are rising up the ranks to be involved to going, no, we've got it as well. It's going to be good. I think the money side of things will be interesting, because although we have the Champions League football now and we have the money and we can spend it, people know we've got the money as well. You know, we spent an entire January window trying to get Anthony Gordon, and on the very last day we paid 45 million for him. And look, I want Gordon to come good, and I think that's the way the transfer market is generally. Whether it was us or somebody else, teams want as much money as they can possibly get, and that is something we will have to deal with. However, it doesn't make it easier that teams know we have money, we can spend it, and that we need players. Yeah, we need players. We'll talk about squads, players to keep, sell, loan, etc. in a video coming up in the next few weeks. So if that interests you, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But it will be really interesting to see how we approach this summer market. And as much as I want to see us really, not 2 or 3. I'm talking 4 or 5. You could potentially want to see even more than that. But Eddie Howe wants to grow, learn, and I think Eddie Howe will be very careful. I think he can be ruthless when he wants to be, and I do expect to see players leave this summer window, maybe even some players that you wouldn't expect to, but it won't be an overhaul. He's going to still hold on to some of those key characters. I think Burns a character. I think in the change rooms, having a local lad who knows what it means, I think helps with that atmosphere we've discussed. We've talked about quite a bit in this video, so let me know your thoughts on it down below. Let me know your thoughts on Newcastle getting to the Champions League. How excited are you to see those Tuesday, Wednesday nights? How hard is it going to be to get a ticket? My God, I'll be interested to see what the club do about that. I've no doubt we will talk about that this summer as well, because it has been a little bit all over. I think at the minute they're just fighting fires. How do we do this? How do we do this? I think once they get 5 minutes this summer, they need to sit down and go, okay, this is how it's going to go, because last season, with needing a previous spending purchase in order to buy a ticket on general sale, I don't think is fair. There's loads of stuff, but we will talk about it in due course, I'm sure. All right, guys, thanks for watching. As always, drop a like, subscribe if you have enjoyed this week's Two Tuesdays special Champions League edition. Stick around for more videos, hit subscribe, drop a like if you've enjoyed it too. Enjoy your week, and I'll catch you later.